All right, just while people file in, I always kind of have some dead air time here, right? 30 seconds or so, just people get into the room, the virtual room, so to speak. So it is roughly 2 days until the start of fall. So the question is, pumpkins, is it too early or not? So pumpkins, yes or no? Here we are at September 21st. Casey, is it too early
Oh,
for pumpkins?
well, I'll tell you, I'm growing pumpkins in my backyard, and it's not too early for the squirrels to already eat them. So,
So pumpkin as a food source for lack of a better word, rodents, yes. Tate, pumpkins, yes or no?
Uh, my wife says if Starbucks has the pumpkin spice, then it's fall basically, and I think it's already there. So I guess for me personally, maybe it's a little early, but you know how it is. Happy wife, happy life. So I guess it is time.
So, so we have
my
the Starbucks index tells us when it's pumpkin season, and the Waffle House index tells us when you shouldn't leave the
that's
house.
right.
All right. Well, great. Well, let's get this kicked off. My name is Gary Dehart. I'm the host of Insightful, or the publisher of Insightful Accountant, the host of the Accounting Insiders podcast. And we'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, which is the top 10 Xero features from a Xero certified advisor. Our speakers today are Tate Henshaw, who is a co-founder of ARC Management, and he is the Xero certified advisor who's telling us about the top 10 Xero features, and Casey Barlow, who is an enterprise partner consultant from Xero. Before I turn it over to these guys, I do have a couple of housekeeping items. One, we are offering CPE for this, but in order to qualify for CPE, just like with all sessions, you have to be on the session for 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and you must answer at least 3 of the polling questions. We actually have 5, so you got to answer 3, but one of those questions is, do you need to receive the certificate? That'll be at the end of this. So if you do want to receive the certificate, make sure you click yes on that. If you have questions, we ask you to put them into the Q&A panel. The speakers will be monitoring that Q&A panel, but be specific when you ask a question. Don't say, Tate, what did you mean by that? Tate might not get to that question for 5 or 8 minutes. So say, Tate, what did you mean when you said your wife was in charge of deciding when it's fall? So just be real specific in your questions so that they can answer it completely. And the recording for this webinar will be posted to our YouTube channel. It usually takes about 2 days. I will put the link to the YouTube channel in the chat once I go dark. And then we will also, I didn't ask, our speakers are going to have to answer this, whether we can share that, the PDF of the slide deck. If so, Molly, who's in the background, if you can just send that to me or post that into the chat, that would be great. And then we'll also put these in the follow-up email that you will receive within about 24 hours as well. So gentlemen, thank you so much for taking some time today, and thank you for everyone who is in attendance. And I will be heading into the dark room here. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate the intro there. Welcome, everybody, to Top 10 Xero Features. So we're going to spend some time today talking about those to start off. We're going to go through some of those features, the details on those features. About halfway through, then we'll hop into a demo environment. I'll take you through. We'll show those features in action. We do have 10 features, depending on time. We may only get to the top 4 or 5, but we'll make sure it's all worth your while. So moving on, as Gary introed me, so I'm Casey Barlow. I'm a enterprise partner consultant. So give you a little more context behind what that means is, for one, I'm a recovering accountant. I've been at Xero about 4 years now. Prior to that, I was in public accounting for about 7 years, audit, tax, advisory, small business consulting, the whole gambit. So that's me. I'll be kind of talking a lot and demoing you a lot, but I'll hand it over to Tate for his intro.
Thanks, Casey. Yes, Tate Henshaw. I'm the co-founder of ARC Management, as Gary mentioned. What does that really mean? It means I work with a lot of athletes and entertainers in a hybrid business management, accounting, family office environment to help them with all their financial related matters, and obviously use Xero heavily to facilitate that. Been using Xero since 2015. And then I also am a national ambassador for Xero, which just means I'm here for you guys, partners, potential SMBs, et cetera, to just help explain the value of Xero from a firm perspective.
Thanks, Tate. And yeah, just to add a little more context of what a partner consultant is on my role. So really, basically, I'm your technical solutions expert inside the product. One of our big, competitive differentiators here at Xero is you have access to an account manager and a partner consultant within your region. So later when we get to the slides, obviously we can talk about reaching out to them. But just to give you a little more context into what that role means, because it's not quite apparent. So really, this next slide, this is kind of one of our taglines, beautiful business, beautiful accounting software. We really pride ourselves on, that user interface and that user experience that you have within the product. And not only for you, the advisor, the accountant, but mostly so for that small business owner. We want that to look nice and clean, easy for them to use and easy for them to navigate around. As you'll notice here, we obviously have you can log into your web browser. We are cloud-based, so you can log in via your computer. You can log in, on the web browser on your phone, or you can download the many apps that we have available to Xero on your phone, so they can, do things on the fly, invoice it on the fly and such. So you can see the phone and the tablet there. So, we're highly connected in all mediums there. Just a little bit of sparkles and whatnot of our purpose here at Xero. We're just, we want to make life better for people in small businesses, their advisors, and the communities around the world. That's kind of our strategic direction that we go here. That's kind of like our vision. So I want to set the stage and talk about subscription levels, because some of these features aren't available in all the subscription levels that you'll see here. So for starters, this is what we're calling our business edition plans. Now we have another set of plans called partner edition plans. We'll get into that slide towards the end of this session. But really, basically, a small business owner can go to our website, xero.com, and they're going to see these three plans up there. So we have three plans, the early, the growing, and the established plan. Now these all have, different capabilities and use cases for different clients, or your customers or clients, wherever they're at, as far as their, bookkeeping needs. So for the early plan, and this is all plans, right? So we have unlimited users. So any bullet that you really see in early is going to be included in the growing and established as well. So all plans are going to have unlimited users. So you don't have to worry about paying for extra users at all. You can invite all your staff in. You can invite the clients in. Obviously, permission levels is a big thing too. We have all the way up to advisor level permissions, all the way down to read only. So maybe if you just want your client reading and not touching the books, you have those options. The early is kind of a trimmed down version of Xero. So really the big thing here is you're maxed out to 20 quotes and 20 quotes and invoices per month, and then 5 bills per month. So low transaction volume type stuff. Maybe it's a very, very small startup. And then obviously we have unlimited bank reconciliation. You can add as many bank accounts as you want. And then lastly, we purchased a company called HubDoc a couple of years ago. And basically that's a document storage tool and ingestion tool. It uses OCR technology to read the data off those receipts, bills, invoices, bank statement extraction as well. And then that'll send over into Xero with all the data there. Next plan is our growing. This is our most popular plan. So really, like it says in the first bullet point, it has all those features there, unlimited users. Then it just kicks on the unlimited quotes and invoicing and bills. When I refer to invoicing and bills, I'm really referring to AR and AP. And then with the growing plan too, that's where we get cash coding turned on. So this will be one of our features we'll talk about. So I won't say any much more until we get to that slide. And then last but not least, the established plan. This is our highest level plan that we have out there. So it has all the growing plan features. Plus you get projects functionality. So job costing, progress invoicing capabilities, expenses. What we mean by expenses, it's an expense reimbursement module. Also, we have multi-currency functionality, and as well as Analytics Plus, which is an advisory tool to do short-term cash flow. Anything you want to add there, Tate?
No, I think, there's definitely use cases for each of these. I think you're kind of implying by the name, okay, this is early in the business, it's growing, it's established, but it could also just be, a client has a a loan out corporation for a very specific purpose. They've set up a different entity, but there's not a lot of transaction volume, and it's easy to plug that into the early plan. And vice versa, you know, if you've got someone with multi-currency, you know, being able to have that native to the ledger for a $70 a month price point, I find is pretty affordable. Not having to go back and manually do a bunch of, you know, adjustments and things of that nature.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
I guess one
Cool.
other thing, I mean,
Yep.
sorry, is
You're good.
like you can switch between these, right? And I think you might have mentioned that, but like if they progress, if these things become needed over time, you can go back and forth. You don't lose your data. You don't, you know, have to recreate the wheel. You keep all the same, you know, ledger information, and you have the same reporting capabilities for all these plans as well. So your client is going to have a very seamless experience, even if you're adding on new features as you go.
Yep, absolutely. So there's no migration of data between any of these plans. It's as easy as upgrading or downgrading at any point in time between the subscriptions. Thanks, Dave. I've got our first polling question. So, which subscription allows for projects, the job cost and invoicing? I can't see who's answering or how many have answered. So Gary, you have to keep me honest.
Yeah, we'll give it about 10 more seconds here, and then we'll get it wrapped up, and I can share those results too. Again, if you need the CPE, go ahead and hop in. You don't want to miss one. All right, get it wrapped up here. 3, 2, and 1.
All right. So the majority of you, 8 of 13, got the correct answer. It is our established plan. So again, that established plan has the project's functionality, you know, the progress, billing, invoicing, job costing for those clients. So, you know, it's really good for, you know, sole traders or tradesmen, you know, that have, you know, day-to-day projects. Oh, can't change the screen there. There we go. Okay, so let's hop into our first top 10 Xero feature. And you probably guessed it, you know, everything starts from the bank reconciliation, obviously available in all plans. So couple bullet points to talk about it. So this happens simultaneous with transaction coding. And what do I mean by that? Well, I want to hop you down to that last bullet point there. So this is the, you know, the big paradigm shift, or the big feature efficiency that we have built in Xero. What we do is a transactional level reconciliation versus a statement level reconciliation. And a little bit behind of why we do that is that way you can run a reconciliation report mid-month. You know, we can look at that balance in Xero on the 15th of the month. We can go to online banking, check that balance for the 15th of the month. So that way we have a better view and idea of the cash position for the client. So we're able to advise rather on a, you know, on a daily level rather than a statement level, waiting at the end of the month, you know, grabbing that bank statement and doing the reconciliation process. So what that means is, back to the first bullet point, as we are coding transactions, we are actively building that bank reconciliation report for you. So we're completely eliminating that reconcile step that you have in other softwares. Some of the, you know, the underlying features within the bank rec do, you got your statement balance, the bank reconciliation report, which is super handy. Ability, you have this optional ability to enter the ending balance. So, you know, if you're coming from, you know, QuickBooks and you really like to put that ending balance in there, we have an option or ability for you to enter that in, just to make you, you know, a little more comfortable with our bank rec process. An additional thing that we have is what's called an uncoded statement lines report. So in other softwares, you may usually put that in, or the clients might put that in Ask My Accountant. Then you have to go and reclassify it at the end of the day. Well, we built a tool where we can basically run a report that shows us all our unreconciled transactions, and we can, you know, send it over to the client via fillable PDF or a CSV file. That way, we're not coding things into GL until we know what they're actually for.
And you can actually do that for all your clients at the same time and pull that uncoded statement lines report in bulk, depending on your process for your firm. But basically, there's a lot of different options here, And I really like the detail of the report because you've kind of got a summary report that probably most people are used to. And then you've also got a detailed with every transaction from the starting balance to the ending balance report. And you can actually publish those within the software. So it can create a very strong audit trail if you go back and things change or something like that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nate. This is definitely one we will be demoing for sure. Next, which is complementary to the bank reconciliation and efficiency gain, is using bank rules. I think bank rules, across any accounting software, pretty much work the same way, right? It allows you to set conditions for certain transactions, to code those quicker during your bank rec process. So you can see it makes the coding more efficient. You'll see how it makes it even more efficient when we go to our next feature here. It's flexible, allows multiple vendors based on conditions too. So, say we buy airline tickets from Southwest, United, and Delta. We're able to, create conditions for all of those vendors, for, a travel expense bankroll, for example. So, not groundbreaking stuff. I think, most of us are familiar with bank rules. And then obviously, we have the ability to run these rules on multiple bank accounts.
Yep. And you have the ability to do a lot of things with the dollar amount of the transaction. You can, apply fixed amounts, like if it's an ATM and it's 103.50, right? Which a lot of us have probably seen, like you could allocate that 350 charge to bank service charges and allocate the rest to, a petty cash account or something of that nature. So basically, just the point being, you can do it by percentage. You've got a lot of flexibility, which for me, you're probably going to hear me say flexibility a lot today. That's one of the reasons I love Xero, because as things change with you, with your firm, with the clients, it's really important to have a system that can adapt and do things a lot of different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. Another one of my favorite ones is, use cases is, for that, applying a fixed amount, maybe to a simple interest loan. You can pop in that, that principal amount, if it's the same every month, and then, code the rest to interest expense. All right. Next polling question. All right. What two features, when combined, can greatly speed up bank reconciliation process? So we may have jumped the gun just a tad bit here on this one, but I did kind of hint at it and mention it. So what two features, when combined, make that bank reconciliation much more efficient?
We'll hold this open for about 5 more seconds, and then we will move right on. So 3, 2, and 1.
Awesome. So everybody pretty much nailed it. So again, the cash coding and the bank rules. So as we just mentioned, we talked about bank rules. Our next slide here, we're going to get into cash coding and what that entails. Okay, so cash coding, aka bulk reconciling or bulk coding. So basically what it does we have a regular reconciliation screen, transaction by transaction, where we can code them one by one, or we have this alternative tab called cash coding. This is only available to advisor permission level users. So, we do that for a reason. So, a client doesn't go in there and use the tool and bulk reconcile a bunch of things to the wrong account. So we do, limit the permissions on that because you can get carried away with it, which we'll show in the demo. So really, it just reformats it into a nice spreadsheet format. So we're able to filter, by the description, by the amount, the date, you name it, whatever makes the most sense for that bank data coming in. And then, so it's a spreadsheet. So it really, it creates more efficiency when you combine it with bank rules. So when you open up that cash coding screen and you have a lot of bank rules set up, it's a one-click reconciliation for all those transactions. So, what I'll say is, I have my dad's business on Xero. I go in there once a quarter. I have 90% of those transactions with a bank rule on it. So I can go in there once a quarter and do about 300 transactions in about 5 minutes. So again, using bank rules and the cash coding tool, this is going to cut your reconciliation down massively, give you more time for those higher value services, those advisory conversations with the client.
Yeah, and it's great for new client onboarding. if you've got to go back, put a couple of years historical stuff in. And you can create bankrolls. Maybe I gave away one of Casey's secrets for later, but you can create bankrolls from this section. And if so, if you got a whole year's worth of transactions and you sort it by the description and you see, oh, there was 400 of these vendor, clearly then you know you need to create a bankroll. Whereas if you're doing them chronologically based on date, you may not see that. So it really just helps you kind of see what's going on at a glance in an account and really create some efficiencies.
Absolutely. Flexibility, efficiencies, abilities. That's the name of the game today. All right. So our next feature, I think was this feature number 3 or 4, find and recode. So as I was talking about earlier with, the cache coding, and, if the client gets access to cache coding and makes a complete mess of coding transactions, they have some creative accounting codings in there, right? How do we go about, fixing that? So say you're at month end or you're at year end, you run an income statement or a balance sheet, you see some debits where there should be credits or vice versa. You're seeing, like a miscellaneous expense account that's massive. And there's transactions in there that need to be moved out of miscellaneous to other categories or other accounts. This is what this code or what this feature does. So it's your easy way to reclassify those mistakes without undoing that coded transaction from the bank reconciliation screen, right? So we're able to run this query for certain transactions. And it's also a great search tool as well too. So if you want to see, the transactional detail for, you can even, filter down by a specific user that coded the transactions. You want to see, okay, I want to see what Tate's been coding in here. So we can drill down, we can see what Tate's been coding to specific accounts or all the accounts or whatever. We'll get into that in the demo too. So, and then, say maybe you implemented tracking categories or classes, but you in your previous reconciliation months, you didn't have anything tagged, they're all unclassified. Well, we can run a find and recode report, add some conditions in there, and then get those properly coded to a class or tracking categories, as we call them here at Xero.
Yep, you took my my tip away, but it's great for management. You've got a new employee. But let's say on a certain client, you have 5 or 6 people working on it. I'm not saying that'd be the norm, but it's certainly possible. But you really want to know, how's this new person doing? You don't want to go through 100% of the transactions. You want to go through the ones they've entered. So you could easily just filter it by what they've entered, certain date ranges, certain vendors, a lot of the normal things that we deal with, right? Oh, this vendor was on, dues and subscriptions and communications, or a couple of different things. You're able to quickly, okay, I need to consolidate, these Amazon charges, these Netflix charges, whatever it may be. Not saying you should all be writing off your Netflix subscription, but those kind of things, it makes it really efficient to do that. And Casey, before we hit the next one, we got a couple of questions that
Sure.
I sort of contextually know the answer to, but wanted to see if you could give kind of a more official answer. But Jennifer's asking, how do you receive advisor level permissions?
Absolutely. So let's hold that, and I'll show you that when we get into the demo portion. Really, it's just going to be in the settings section of Xero. And then once you click settings, you'll go to the users, and then you can adjust their permission levels. So
Perfect. And then George is asking, how many users does Xero have in the US and worldwide? Do you know that current numbers are at?
Worldwide, I can tell you worldwide. We just released our half year metrics, or our full year metrics. We're March 31st year end. I think it was 3.7 million total subscriptions on Xero.
I knew we were over. Yeah, I knew we were over the 3 million, but I wasn't sure exact.
Yeah, we're probably knocking on 4 million's door here soon.
Yeah,
if not already. Cool, great questions. All right, next feature, fixed assets module. So, basically we can, import our fixed assets spreadsheet or whatever it may be, right into Xero, or fixed assets ledger, right into Xero. We can set up, depreciation dates. We can pick the depreciation, calculation types. Unfortunately, there's no tax depreciation types, right? You got like, your straight lines, you got your double declining. And then basically, you add items, register them. And then you can run depreciation, say you want to run depreciation at the end of the month, or maybe at the end of the quarter, you can do that. Oh, maybe I saw a mistake on one of the amounts that was booked to a certain fixed asset. Well, you can actually roll it back too. So you have the ability to roll it back. You don't have to do manual journal entries or anything like that. We try to make this really easy and efficient for you within the fixed assets module.
Yeah, nothing really to add there. That one was pretty straightforward.
Yep. Only question. All right, which tool helps you reclassify transaction in bulks? Bulks.
Put that S in there to see if you would catch it, Casey.
Hey,
You passed. That was great
I'm
proofreading.
a recovering CPA, so my attention to detail is still there.
Like, how did that get there? So, all right, we'll hold this open for about just a couple more seconds. And if you need CPE, make sure you participate. We'll go ahead and close this out in 3, 2, and 1.
Absolutely. Find and recode. So that's how we would reclassify the transaction bulk. Cash coding, some of you answered there, that's how we code them in bulk. So that's the differentiator there. So once we get carried away with cash coding and we make mistakes, then we can go to find and recode to reclassify.
Okay, so we got one question on fixed assets.
Yeah.
Are there options to run book, federal, and state depreciation schedules? Pretty sure you kind of alluded to that, but you're pretty much picking your standard depreciation options for the built-in Xero fixed asset module, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So there's no makers or anything like that, or any state level. It's going to be really just basic, book depreciation, no tax depreciation. All right, on to our next feature, expense reporting. So I think this should really say expense reimbursements or expense management. But I guess one and the same. But anyways, so we do in the established plan that you'll see there highlighted, we have basically, I would call it like an Expensify light version. So really, Xero natively doesn't have like the payment processing capabilities, but it has all the expense management capabilities. So, you can have, say one of your clients has, a couple employees that are submitting reimbursable expenses. They can download an app on their phone. It's called Xero Expenses, and they're able to, take pictures of those receipts, get it uploaded into Xero. They can get them coded. You can obviously, select which accounts they can, code reimbursable expenses to in the chart of accounts. So, you're basically able to look at the expense reports, approve them or deny them, kick them back to them. Maybe then, add the receipt in there. Maybe they coded it incorrectly. So you do have, capabilities of, approving and denying, kicking it back. So really simple, clean. Again, like I mentioned, there is a mobile app out there too. That makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and this could work for your firm as well, right? If you have employees, things of that nature that need to report expenses. So your firm, your clients, and kind of what Casey said is a good thing to keep in mind for a lot of these Xero things. Not only are there these features that are built into certain plans, but there's also, a huge amount of third-party apps where if you want that on a supercharged level, then you can integrate those in and bring in other, create your own custom ecosystem. So there's really no end, there's no limitation on what you can make this program do.
Very good. All right. The next feature we have is projects, or it's called, what do we call it? That's totally blanking me right now. Job costing. Thank you, Tate. Yes. So job costing. So really, this allows for setting up a project, creating a quote or an estimate on that project. And then, invoicing out for deposit or, progress, invoicing it out as the project progresses. So, there's a lot of reporting behind the scenes too in the project. So, you can run project specific reports to see, your profit margins on there. Have they been invoiced out or not? There's a detailed time report. So, they're adding time, they're adding expenses that need to be charged back to the project, all that stuff there. So, yep, just like I mentioned, there, track time and costs, record the hours spent in real time. Again, there's a projects app out there. So, the small business users out there on the fly needs to get an estimate or a quote out to them quickly. They can spin one up quickly. And then obviously, we can invoice that out. So you have the option to take a deposit before you get in the work. You have the option to progress invoice out. So if it's, a multi-month project and you want to invoice them out each month, we can do that. And we can select the tasks, the hours, the time, the expenses for each of those months. Super, super flexible. I actually work with a small business client on my freelance side, and he has, about 20 project users in there, contractors that he works with, putting in their time, and it works really well for him. So he's a digital creator and has a lot of subcontractors that are, in there. They just have a permission level to work in projects and record time and expenses to these projects. And lastly there, viewing the financials. So again, there's project specific reporting to see how everything's progressing. So we can get a 30,000 foot view level or a detailed view level on each project.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to add in here is you've got here adding the pay now button, basically adding on those payment services for the invoicing, which is hugely beneficial to a lot of clients. That's not specific to projects. That's for kind of any of these business edition plans. You're going to be able to do that using different payment services, Stripe, et cetera, et cetera. So
absolutely cool. So moving on to the next feature. So we're getting into more advisory level tools here. This is what we call the short-term cash flow tool. You'll see it named in our product as Analytics and Analytics Plus. So basically, this gives an overview of expected cash movements of a business. So what that means is we're able to, go into the short-term cash flow tool, and we want a 7-day projection, a 30-day, a 60, and 90-day projection of what our bank account balance will be based on the outstanding invoices and bills that are out there. So again, for this to work well, you need to be using the invoicing and billing for it to work. We are, adding advancements to it and machine learning and AI to kind of pick up on, just like regular expense type transactions. So we're always trying to improve that. And then what it allows you to do in that last bullet point there is it'll suggest things for you. You can add in expected or planned payment dates. So again, this just helps, the business understand their cash position and where they're going to be at, in a specific range, 7, 30, 60, 90 days from now.
yeah, and I think one of the things for advisors, bookkeepers, accountants, et cetera, is like, this is one of those things that can really change the conversation with your client. If you've traditionally been doing more write-up work, things like that, and you can get into these forward-looking consulting, projecting, those type of conversations. First of all, they can have significantly higher payment rates for some of you guys. But this is one of those things where you can show the client the capabilities are not just tracking what happened. You can actually help them make good decisions for their business. And it can just really create those good conversations to facilitate that perception change.
Right. So not necessarily, reactive, right? We're looking proactively into the future and being that true trusted advisor that our clients depend on us to be. Okay, I think I already talked a bit about Analytics and Analytics Plus. Really just going back, short-term cash flow tool, there's 2 versions of it. It's the Analytics and Analytics Plus. The Analytics is available on all the plans, on all the business edition plans, and then the Analytics Plus is available on the established plan. So the Analytics Plus allows you to go 60 and 90 days out, I believe it is. The analytics, the regular analytics will allow you to go 7 days and 30 days out. So again, we can see the prediction of future recurring transactions. repeating invoices and bills. Oh, another side note is you have repeating invoicing and bill capability. So you have an annual invoice or an annual contract, and you need to invoice it out once a month like a subscription or something. We have that capability with invoicing and billing.
And auto pay in certain scenarios as well is available for those.
Yeah, absolutely. If you pick the right payment processor, they will definitely help with that. We can obviously manipulate this data too, so we can manually add or remove transactions. This allows for scenario planning, benchmark planning, things like that. We can analyze trends. So really, this Analytics Plus and Analytics, it's a dashboard view, right? It's a very interactive graph that you can kind of just hover over and see the bills that are coming due, the invoices that we're supposed to receive. Then we can drill down into the transaction level at any point. And then in addition to that too, we have the business snapshot. So this is another dashboard. Will get you a high level overview of operational KPIs, so our highest expense accounts, our profit margin, things like that. Cool. I think we're getting close to the end of our features, our top 10 features here. So the next one we'll talk about is report templates. So again, this is available on all plans, but these are advisor tools. These are tools, for the accountants and the bookkeepers, et cetera. And what this really does is this streamlines your reporting to make it standardized and formalized across many of your clients, maybe in the same industry. So you do have access to report templates with Xero HQ. So Xero HQ is our version of QuickBooks My Accountant. So it's your console where we manage our clients, our staff accesses, and you'll also see the reports tab that we have there. So again, it allows consistent reporting between entities. So the nice thing about it too is it's standardized at the firm level. We create the template, so we create the financial statement package, right? We want an income statement, we want a balance sheet, maybe we want a trial balance, maybe we want a GL report. We're able to build that at the HQ level and then go into the client and then run that template on all those clients. And the beauty of it is we use what's called report codes. So even if they don't have the same chart of accounts, we can map those report codes to those accounts so they properly show up in the correct grouping of those report templates. These are all highly customizable. So this is we're going into talking about just reporting in general in Xero. This is one of our big competitive differentiators is the customizability of our reports too. So we can insert columns, do comparative reporting, class tracking reporting, and things like that.
Yeah, we use these heavily at ARC, so they're super beneficial for not only the customization, but also just being able to run one report that has multiple reports put in it. So you project out for exporting and sending those and reviewing and all those kind of things. Like it just really creates a lot of efficiencies there.
Absolutely. And a step down from this too, if you're not comfortable using report templates, because it is more of an advanced Xero tool, as you learn Xero more and more, you'll start to probably use report templates for increased efficiencies. But even at the client level, you're able to run what's called a management report, which is like a report package at the client level. So we can have the same functionality. We can have a package of reports, and we can customize those reports. Maybe it's a monthly report or a quarterly report package, whatever that may be. So lots of flexibility there. Only question. All right. So we may not have looked at our partner edition plans yet, but we'll see what we get here. Which subscription level does not have the bank feed capabilities? So I know we've talked about early and established. We haven't talked about Cashbook or Ledger yet, but we will get to those.
Casey, while we're waiting on this polling question, George had a question just about security. Everyone's obviously concerned about security and just some of the high level things about how Xero thinks about security and kind of how they store the data from a backup recovery perspective as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we take security very, very seriously here at Xero. It's at the forefront of our minds. So for starters, we are a cloud-based company. We are hosted on AWS here in the US. We're also, hosted. We're a global company, right? So we were hosted on AWS in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. So we have lots of data redundancy and backups available. So there's not necessarily a backup tool per se that we have with Xero. There are some third-party apps that do have backup capabilities, but if one side of the hemisphere data center goes down, we have that redundancy in the southern hemisphere. Additionally, with that, we are SOC certified. We're also ISO certified as well. So again, those two things combined are just really important for security and you being comfortable in using our product. Okay, so for the answer here, it is the ledger actually. So the ledger is going to be a very bare bones basic plan. It's like $3 a month. It's really for your spreadsheet clients, right? Maybe they don't have a bank that you can connect the bank feed to, but you can import the transactions and reconcile that way. So we'll get to the ledger and the cash book and those offerings too. All right, so looks like we got about 20 minutes here. So what I want to do is kind of shift gears here and show some of these features in action. So I want to spend about 15 minutes inside the product and cover some of those features, specifically the bank rec process, find and recode, maybe customizing some reports. So I'm watching my time here. So we'll knock these out, and then we have a couple more slides afterwards. So that said, I'll go ahead and head on over into Xero.
I had one question I wanted to address real quick before you jumped in there. Just what do you feel is your most competitive advantage over direct competitors, specifically QuickBooks Online? For me, just I can speak from my personal experience, just the way Xero treats accountants as partners and not as vendors slash sometimes competition has been, a huge boost to our business over the last 8 years of working together. So I think that's a huge one, plus all these features, obviously, that we're going through with Casey on this session.
Mm-hmm. Something I will add, even coming from public accounting before I came to Xero, something I was never exposed to Xero before I got here. So I came in during the headlights to this place. Something that really, opened my eyes was our reporting. The customizability and the flexibility of the reporting that we have is super user friendly. And the whole point behind it is you're able to customize, custom reports, detailed reports inside the software itself without ever exporting to Excel and manipulating data. So that's one of my big things.
Yeah, for sure. And that's been a huge advancement over the time I've been working with Xero. A lot of these reports with the layout editor, it's not only that you can customize them, which is true, but you can customize them easily without having to have a aerospace degree or computer science degree or something like that to know how to do it. Like, it's intuitive, it's easy. You can group things, you can add formulas, you can do historicals, you can put in budgets, all those kind of things. So it's just very flexible. Again, sorry, I think that's about number 10 times flexible, but it is useful in lots of different scenarios.
Absolutely. And the price point doesn't hurt either. We're very competitive about that as well.
Absolutely.
I think our established plan's $70 a month, right? Compared to the competitor, which can be much more than that for the same product.
And all that reporting is available in the $3 a month plan as well.
Absolutely. So you're not gated to specific reports based on the subscription level you're on. You have full capability and unlimited users. So that's another one. All right. So I want to spend 10 minutes in the product and then leave 5 minutes for questions at the end. So I'm gonna quickly go through this. Let's start with that bank rec first. Okay. So we can hop into the checking account here and show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, we have a bank feed set up here with City National Bank. On the left side here, you're seeing the bank transactions come in, on a daily basis. And then on the right side, that's how we're going to code that into the software. So for starters, you're seeing this first one, the City Limousines. We have this little discuss tab here. So this is a collaborative tool for you and your client, or maybe a staff member to staff member, like, hey, I need help with this transaction. Can you help me with it? It's also a great place to put in notes before you send out that uncoded statement lines report to the client. So whatever you put in this box here will show up, give context to your clients of, what's going on. This note looks like, however, like, the client saying, hey, this is on an old invoice. I don't know where to do. Can you investigate? Can you help me out? So what we do, we start there. We can press this match button. So really that's going to take us into our open AR. So I received $100, and then we can kind of review our open invoices that we have out there. Obviously it's going to be related to the 0017. I got 0017. This is a perfect case scenario. This never happens in real practice, right? But we've identified it. We said, yep, it's related to this invoice, but that invoice for 250, right? Well, we can split it and just do a partial 100. We're pressing split, record that partial payment of 100, leave that invoice out open for 150. So we have that functionality there. Obviously the matching capabilities, right? So we spent $1,100 here. Xero's saying, hey, there's an open bill for that amount. Do you want to go ahead and reconcile it? So boom, it's going to do that. Then we have an open invoice that's matching here. Okay, reconcile, great. So that's that matching functionality. That's the first way Xero is going to help you reconcile quicker. The second way it's going to help you reconcile quicker is those bank rules. So we can see that 7-Eleven here, it's hit a condition of something in this transaction. If I just open this in a new tab, if I can get rid of my screen here, there we go. You can see, the payee contains 11 here, right? And we can add more conditions in here. Maybe it's the, that multiple vendor one situation that I was mentioning earlier. We can set the contact to 7-Eleven. And as me and Tate mentioned earlier, we can allocate a fixed amount up here if we want, or we can just do, the remainder or the full amount down in, office expense at 100%. Or if I want to, allocate it more, we can do that 50, 33%, whatever that may be. And then, this is running on all my bank accounts and credit card accounts. Give the rule name. As a little tip here, I like to put in where it's going, so it's a little more descriptive. I'll press save there. Oops. Find my Zoom tabs are everywhere right now. Oh, I just got to delete that. Save. Okay. Let's move some of things around here. All right. So then I go scroll back down to there. Let's see. So now you can see that it's a little more descriptive. So office expenses 7-Eleven. I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to show you in cash coding how it's much quicker. But lastly, so if they can't find a match, you can't run a bank rule. Xero's going to suggest a transaction. So you can see down here in this Ridgeway, it's already filled out my contact and where it's going. So it's saying, hey, I saw you reconciled it this way before. Do you want to do it again? So it's going to give you a suggested transaction. So that's where it's using that AI and machine learning, all those buzzwords you're using today. So that's what's going on behind the scenes there. So obviously we can go through one by one. That's not the quickest way to do it. We mentioned cash coding as one of those efficiency tools. So let's go over there quickly, do some cash coding. So again, like I mentioned, this puts it into a accountant-friendly spreadsheet format. And what we can do here is, it looks like it makes sense for me to, sort by the payee. In some bank feeds, maybe all the data is coming through the description column. So maybe that's, a better a sorting column. Just kind of depends on the nature of the bank feed and how the data is coming in. But we'll take, we'll go ahead and sort it by the payee. And so you can see here, those two 7-Eleven transactions, right? It's already auto-filled my description, my account, the tax rate. So that's those bank rules in action. So if I had, bank rules on most of these, all I have to do is press save and reconcile. It's going to take care of all of them in one click. So we can see those two transactions are reconciled. So as you can see, as you're going through, you're starting off in Xero and you're adding bank rules, this reconciliation process is going to go much, much quicker. You can quickly on the fly too over here, create a bank rule with this little drop down button right here. So I want to show you the bulk reconciliation feature. So got a lot of central city parkings. So I can click the first one, hold shift on my computer, grab the last one, and then maybe we're coding this to a travel account. So I can type the name or the account number in there, and then I press tab or enter, and it'll take care of all those for me. And we press save and reconcile. And then let's do, a little bit of a mistake here or a miscode. So I got some e-bank deposits. We received the money over here. We see it in the receive column. Maybe I accidentally get carried away, code them to general expenses. So for starters, I could go over to the bank or the account transaction side and, go to, where are they at here? Oh, I don't see them. let's see, e-bank deposit, there it is. See, it's reconciled. So I could, remove and redo it and redo it. That's not that quickest way. Quickest way is go to our accounting tab, go to our find and recode. Again, this is where we're classifying our transactions at the month end, year end. I press find and recode. I create some conditions. So I know I ran the income statement, my general expenses had a huge credit balance in it because of those deposits. So additionally, this is what me and Tate were talking about earlier. Who actually made the mistake? So let's audit my work, and we can add in more conditions here, by transaction total, the contact, the class, the specific bank account, so
And
on
the
and so
date,
forth.
like a lot of the date you can do like before, after, between. You've got a lot of exact date, exact transaction amount, ranges. So you can really start to see, you can really filter this thing down pretty quickly.
So, yep, I just filtered it by general expenses and me entering those transactions. And then you'll see it, you can see very quickly this expense account, it's got green here. See those RMs, that means receive monies. So obviously those are out of place. So I can click those three. Then I can recode. I have two options to recode. I can do the source transaction, which is best practice, or maybe I can just want to do a manual journal adjustment just to, move the accounts. I always recommend doing the source transaction from an auditor's perspective. So we can
Unless
update the
you got a
content.
closed period, maybe something you want to, there's usually source transactions is definitely going to be best though.
Absolutely. So we can update a contact here if we want to. Obviously, I want to update this account to sales because we did receive money. Do I need to update a tax rate here? And you can customize tax rates in Xero. I'm not going to recode it. We're going to say just maybe for professional services or something. We can additionally add on a tracking category or a class to them too. Maybe it's to my north side of my business. Then we review and we confirm. So we can see the summary there. And when we go back into, the find and recode history or the find and recode page, you can see, an audit trail of everything that's going on. So you see, I did 3 transactions between those dates. It was approved by me and I completed it. So lots of audit trails and assurance type functionality.
Yeah, I was going to say that those individual transactions, if you click into the detail on those, then you're going to see that transaction was recoded. When did they recode it? Who did it, etc. So it's very much about keeping track of, the history of those transactions.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's see what time we got here. We got about 3 minutes left. With that, I just want to quickly, customize an income statement for you just to show you that functionality that we kept talking about. Then we'll wrap up here. So I'm going to go to this income statement. You'll notice here on the left side, we have some quick common formats. So if I quickly just want to go to, on the current and 3 previous months, we can click that and, it's kind of a custom report, built already, on the fly for you. So we can see we got, September, August, July, June. We can reorder these too. If we want June showing up first, we can do that, which I'll show you how to do. If I don't like the name of income statement profit loss, we can change that. Absolutely, without exporting to Excel. Some of the more features, obviously we can run it on accrual or cash. I think it's probably useful to show accounting basis. Showing the account codes is probably very useful. So we can update that quickly on the fly. So now we can see, my P&L on accrual basis. And then we can see, my 400 sales account. And we can deep link into these. So we can see what makes up that balance. We see something out of place. Guess what? Find and recode. Yeah, maybe I want to just, customize these columns the other way, right? Down this bottom left portion, we can get into the back end of the report and we can customize it further. So I'll put June over here, drag and drop, July right there, August right there. Maybe I want to quickly add in, maybe a budget. So we can do my September budget, or maybe I want to do the year to date. So it's in line with this year to date column.
It's funny you say that, Casey. So we had a question. What plan do you have to use budgeting in the reports?
Any and all. Add a variance column in there too. So I can select September minus my budget. And then just quickly, I know we're running out of time, but we can select accounts and we can group these two together. So maybe I just want to see it one line item. Sales and other income. Just group it up so you can see that parent sub relationship now. and I'll update that. So now we just, edited those columns, June, July, August, September, a little easier to read and understand that way than the other way. Got the budget, and we can see that budget to variance column there with arrows up and down and so on.
Pretty much all this functionality is available with the templates as well, right?
Yes.
So you can create all these types of reports one time at the practice level and then roll them out for all of your clients. So you've got a consistency across your client base, but you also save a lot of time on that customization.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So a couple more slides here and we'll wrap up for today. So that's just a recap on the business edition plans. There's partner editions, but we didn't talk about. So these are only available to accountants and bookkeepers. As a Xero partner, you have access to a ledger and a cash book. These are for your small cash basis clients that are maybe just on spreadsheets, and you need to at least get them in a software to run some reporting and get their tax return done. Really, the major difference here is ledger. There's no bank feed capability. We're just importing bank transactions, CSV files from the bank, OFX, QFX files, or the cash book plan, which has that bank feeds functionality and the cash coding. So really, the two most popular plans I'm seeing is a cash book or a growing plan. So those are kind of our bread and butters for most of the clients, cash book and growing. So some next steps here as we wrap up, join our partner program and meet that local team, your account manager and your assigned partner consultant. We're here to help you evaluate the workflows, look at your clients, and where we can find efficiency gains and grow your practice in the meantime.
Casey, how much does that partner program cost? It sounds like really expensive.
That is absolutely free. Yeah, absolutely
Awesome.
free. Cool. I think we have one last polling question, Gary, and we'll get wrapped up.
All right, we'll get that launched. And while this is going, and again, the question is, if you need the CPE certificate, just say yes. Since you brought up that partner program, I was at the Xero event here in Atlanta at the aquarium a month or so ago. Do you have kind of the main bullet points of that partner program? I know one of them was like, there's marketing dollars, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. So there's co-marketing funds, basically, when you reach a certain status level. So, you spend $1 marketing, we'll spend $1 with you on the marketing as well. And really, it's just a handful of clients to unlock that, really. So you want to update your website, you want to host an event with your clients. There's lots of options in that partner program. That's just one of the benefits. One of the other bigger benefits too is you get discounted pricing on our subscriptions based on that status tier level in our partner program. So anywhere from 15% all the way up to 30%, I believe it is. Don't quote me on it. I have to go look. We've changed it recently, but and again, like you said, you have access to humans over here. There's no 1-800 number. You can hop on a Zoom call with us. We're happy to walk through, give you demos, and help you guys out.
All right, well, fantastic. I think we are done. Are there any other questions in the Q&A you want to get to or we need to get to?
No, I just shot off that last one. I think just building off that last slide that Casey was kind of pulling up with the subscriptions. You can really easily project out a life cycle for a client that goes from a tax client. All of a sudden you're integrating some of the reporting, maybe the short-term cash flow tool, convert them to a more advisory client, get into the growing subscription, and eventually get to, some of these expense management and all those kind of things. Really not only help the client, but they also help you as well.
Fantastic. Well, that's a great one to leave on. We will leave it on that. Tate and Casey, thank you so much. And to everybody who attended, certainly appreciate you taking a little bit of time. And Molly did say she was going to provide me with the PDF or the slide deck of today's presentation, which we will send the link to you tomorrow in the follow-up email. So again, thank you both. Thanks everybody for taking an hour out of your day to learn a little bit about the top 10. What was it called? It was the top 10
Xero features.
Xero features. There we go. I was like, I don't have it written down.
There's more. There's definitely more.
Top 10 that will change your life forever.
Oh, there we go.
What the title of it was, Gary.
I can change it.
Like that.
All right, guys. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks all.